Hello and welcome to Explorers of Elsewhere live. Hi everyone. Hi gang. Hi. We're just gonna do our obligatory, if someone else actually could do the obligatory audio check just to make sure that we're all coming through.
Let's do that now.
Hi.
Hello
Hi.
world.
Yes, we are coming through.
Beautiful.
Hey.
First time consummate professionals we are. Hi, I am DM Dan. We are the Explorers of Elsewhere, and we are doing something old, something new, something borrowed, something cool. Yeah. So for the past some amount of weeks, the five of us have been playing Critical Role's Daggerheart open beta playtest, and we played through both adventures, both the Sablewood Forest and the Marauders of Windfall, and I think we enjoyed it. Yeah.
Well, we wouldn't be here if we didn't. So.
This is very true. Very true. However, what we realised was missing from the offering from Mr. Matt Mercer was a decent world setting. So we've decided to take the Daggerheart setting, the Daggerheart rules, and we're going to apply it to Elsewhere. So yeah, this is the start of a brand new series, Tales from Elsewhere, which will be a very kind of quick and rapid fire short form episodic adventure type thing, a bit like the main campaigns, but even quicker and more condensed, and we can kind of test out and see all the funny things about Daggerheart. We can test Daggerheart in ways that we might not have been able to test them under the adventure paths and the like, and we get to see, I mean, if we look at some insignificant other RPG like Dungeons and Dragons, that gets used for all sorts of different kind of world settings and campaign settings and all sorts, besides like the stock D&D settings. So we're going to see what happens when we do that to Daggerheart, and I'm also quite excited for this. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to it all. But very quickly, just in case you are watching us for the first time, hi, welcome, hello. Let's have a quick whip round. Hi Theo, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Dan. How are you?
I am warm.
Warm is true. I am very warm. London is warm. It's all warm.
We are being the truest Brits that we can be. Yeah, you had a little whip round in the original game as our best boy, Twig. And I think you've got a sort of a best boy equivalent, really. But I guess we'll see when we get round to introducing him.
Yeah, I'm excited to introduce him to you guys. Yeah,
amazing.
Very
cool. Next up, hi Nate, how you doing?
Hello, I'm alright.
Good.
Yeah.
How, in one sentence or less, how do you feel your new character differs from Ruby?
Immensely.
Immensely different.
Immensely different.
That's that's going to be the quote on the thumbnail. Yeah. Immensely. Boom. Done. Next up, hi Livvy, how you doing?
Hello.
You cut your teeth with a very cheeky scamp.
Yeah.
In the Daggerheart playtest.
A cheeky lads.
And I feel like this was just preparation for your newest cheeky scamp.
I can't help myself. I just like to be a cheeky scamp.
Very good. And last but not least, hi Dan.
I'm warm.
You're warm. Yes, we are all warm. There's like if you can hear an ever so slight droning in the background, that's probably the sounds of all of our collective
Everyone's
fans under the desks. Yeah. Like here's the thing: no one really knows if I'm naked below the waist or not. But on that bombshell, with that thought in mind, let's jump into the characters. Yeah, we're just going to have a quick natter, go through the characters, like how we designed them, who you're playing, how you designed them, like any inspirations you had, and so on and so forth, just so we can kind of get to know them before we throw them into the meat grinder. So let's start with you, Theo. Who is... We'll go like 3 questions each or something. But yeah, who is your character?
So I am playing Cal. Cal is, in the rules of Daggerheart, he is an Orderborn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the community he's from, has kind of order and structure,
Mm-hmm.
Which I've taken on with this. He's also, in the world of Elsewhere, a Sangivar, which means that his character, at some point, woke up with red eyes.
Yes.
Which is quite disconcerting.
Yes.
Yes, but he's also a Vengeance Guardian, which in the equivalent in D&D is kind of like a Paladin of Vengeance. So I'm kind of excited to see, because I haven't played that line of Paladin before. I've played a Devotion Paladin before as a D&D, and I've played... I have played other Paladins before, and I've played kind of very good characters, where I think Cal is going to be kind of walking that morally grey line, which I'm quite excited about. But I also think he's going to be a lot of fun, just generally, and kind of different to the characters I usually play. So I'm hoping you guys enjoy him, and I hope I enjoy him, because we'll see how long it lasts.
I'm going to enjoy him.
Everyone else will enjoy him probably more than me. But no, I'm joking. I really like the idea of him, so I'm really hoping that I'm able to get that personality I want across. I think that's the important thing in terms of actually playing. But yeah, very excited to introduce him more to you as we go on.
Amazing. So for the benefits of the viewers, I've just popped a picture of Cal over the chat box, so you can see like who and what we're dealing with. I think the thing that struck most of us immediately was that striking Tom Selleck moustache.
Yeah, I do love the moustache. The moustache is very fun. that was the big I made the moustache more before I made the man. So that was the only thing.
That's true.
So
yeah, it was very much like I want a man with a moustache, and then I was like, oh, this is the man around him.
Yeah, little known fact, Cal is actually just the facial hair.
yeah.
Everything else is like a host.
You know the meme, like 3 kobolds in a trench coat. It's just moustache attached to a trench coat. It's actually Cal's moustache.
Amazing. So yes, we've got Cal, who is a Sangivar. So anyone who's watching campaign 2 will know that the Sangivar have been quite a cultural phenomenon. That's kind of reared its head in the within the confines of the first campaign. We didn't encounter any Sangivar, but now we find that they're being discovered in a sense. We'll kind of do a mini dive into what us being a Sangivar means in a bit, but was there, like, when it came to Cal, was there any particular like inspirations that you drew from? Like, was there a particular source, or was it just like what is it that led you to create this character?
So previously I've played an RPG where I played a champion of Bast in Call of Cthulhu, and he was a bit more of like a Gambit Moon Knight shaped character, and I really enjoyed playing him. And I think wanted to kind of go with a similar vibe again. People keep sending me videos of The Witcher, which I think is going to be quite apt. But then there are other influences as well that I might keep to my chest for a bit, because they might be a bit spoilerific for the character. But yeah, I have thoughts and feelings about my boy. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed kind of gathering things that was shown. The Ghoul from the new Fallout series as well. So I'm kind of like collecting things I like about all these different characters and kind of like drawing together someone new, shaving off the serial numbers and creating Cal from scratch. But,
Yeah, getting
exciting stuff.
like when we were like during the development, I think we were all getting very like lone wolf, edgy boy vibes, weren't we?
Yeah, but I think he's developed a little bit past that, which I think is quite nice as well. So we'll see. I'm actually going to see, like in terms of RP, what feels comfortable with him as well, because a lone wolf dynamic works if you're doing a novel, but a lone wolf dynamic within a party of people who are set to explore together does not work. So it's trying to find the balance in a game that is cooperative as a TTRPG is. So yeah, I think it is going to be interesting to see how it develops.
Cool. So, given that obviously Cal is a Vengeance Guardian, so a different flavour to Goru that you were playing last time, Dan. In comparison to your previous Daggerheart character, which was Twig, who was a wizard, is there anything particular about like the Vengeance Guardian, like rules, mechanics that have made you go, oh yes?
All of them. No, yeah, I've really enjoyed. I really enjoy because I really enjoyed how Dan played his Guardian in the last campaign, and whilst Goru was designed to be hit repeatedly, where I don't think the Vengeance Guardian quite has that same flavour. We were talking about it together as Guardian to Guardian, about the differences between the two subclasses. And I think it's going to be interesting to see, because I think the Vengeance Guardian is less hit me. It's like, if you dare hit me, I will hit you back harder. And I think that's going to be the interesting part of see how that works dynamically, and also how I put that into the roleplay. So, yes, I'm excited. But yeah, I think I quite like Unstoppable was something that Goru had, which I'm very excited to use, which is a interesting class feature. But I'm also enjoying the idea of bold presence, which I think will work as well for Cal, which basically means that whenever I make a presence roll against a hostile target, I can spend a hope to also add my strength. So if my presence is high and my strength is high, which in my case I've designed it to be so, I can really upset someone with my presence roll, depending on what I want to do. So excited to use that, I hope.
Very good.
With my moustache and my red
moustache and the attached Asavar. Very good, very good. I should just shout out that if anyone's got any questions in chat or amongst ourselves, feel free to shout them out, pop them in the chat, whatever, and then we'll cycle back and answer them as and when. Cool. Okay, so we've got a pretty good kind of outline for Cal. Moving on, we'll come back and I'll give you some time, Theo. We're going to ask what your character's biggest brag is, but I'll give you some. We'll go through the other three first to give you some time to mull on that. But next up, hello, Nate.
Hello.
You are playing a rather dashing, aged gentleman. Please tell us all about Azakar.
So, Azakar is in the Daggerheart sort of playbook. He is playing a seraph, more leaning toward. Well, he is a divine wielder seraph. So, in the playbook, there's two seraph types that you can have. There's the flying type, and then there's the divine wielder type, and I decided not to make things difficult for you and say, I'm playing a Majani, but he's got wings. So I said, I'll go with the Divine Wielder because I think that will suit the Majani race a little bit better.
It's like you're making out that I just utterly despise player characters with free flight at level 1. Which is, it's hearsay. It's slander. Yes, you went for the non-flying seraph. Thank you.
I went for the non-flying seraph. So seraphs are a bit, again, sort of a bit like paladins.
Yeah.
They are all very much about following a god. They're their weapon is like sort of linked to their god or linked to their religion, and that can cause it to do fun things. Like I can make it fly from my hand, which is nice. And there's lots of other things. There's lots of healing stuff that I can do as well as part of a seraph. So it's kind of like a paladin / cleric sort of class in a way. And yeah, I chose a Majani because one, no one's played a Majani yet, and I just think they look really cool. I think they're really cool as like a character type, and you know, sort of seeing the ones that were in campaign 1 and also in campaign 2, I just thought, yeah, I think a Majani guy would actually be like a really good link to the Seraph class.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much Azakar. He is he was a soldier. He was a Seraph soldier in the Great War, to the point where he was then captured and held as a prisoner of war. And how he got out, I think we'll probably talk out a bit later.
Yeah.
But he does have some rather... I tried my best not to go too edgelord with him, but it sort of went a little bit edgelordy. So he does have... I didn't want to do scars, because I think we've already got like a couple of people in the team who've got scars. So he's actually got quite nasty burn marks, sort of like down his right side of his face and down his arms as well, from an attack before he was imprisoned. And to really give a kick in the nads to Kavrin, he is a follower of Aya.
Yes.
Because I wanted to have that very major juxtaposition to the character that I'm playing in campaign 2.
Yes.
So yeah.
So just for Anton, who's just joined, hello, welcome, hi. Don't know the classes. Well, just to quickly backtrack, I guess the Guardian is a weird... Well, if we're comparing to like traditional D&D classes, Guardian is almost a bit like fighter with a salt bay sprinkling of barbarian, because it's got the whole unstoppable bit, but it's very much like the defender of the party, specific. Yes, is the tank. Whereas Seraph, so I mean, Nate, I'm very interested in seeing what the Seraph can do, because like at first glance I looked at him and went, oh, that's like the cleric, but it's actually kind of more like a cleric. Sits somewhere between like cleric paladin, because it's a bit more martial. It's fun. It's fundamentally like the holy warrior, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder whether or not the thing with D&D that probably people found a little bit annoying was the fact that, you know, sometimes clerics cannot be fighty enough. Like you say, like, I want to play a cleric, then you're immediately sort of shoehorned into that healer role.
Yeah.
But it definitely feels like with Seraphs that's not so much the case. They are definitely just sort of a class that has like a religious being that guides them, and that they fight for. And it depends on the player really whether or not that's as a defender, a healer, or as a fighter. So yeah, there's a lot of like very healy things that I've got in my character sheet, but then there's also a lot of very fighty things that I've got in my character sheet, which is really nice because I like having that spread of, you know, doing different things. So yeah.
I think by not having like a fighter type class, Daggerheart's been able to spread the ownership of fighting across multiple different like class identities. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. So what brought you to Azakar? Like, what inspirations did you have? Was there like a bit of art or like a character that you thought of that you thought I'm going to emulate that, or was it just a pure like born creation?
I think he, as I said before, I wanted to play like a very sort of very far to the other side of Kavrin that I'm playing at the moment. So I decided to go with someone who was very, god-leaning.
Are you
very
saying that
faith-leaning.
Azakar is not going to be a svelte, promiscuous twink?
as much as that's like really fun to play, he is definitely going to be very stoic, very well, we'll see how it goes. Really,
Sure.
I haven't really thought of much of his character, but he is very much of this is the thing we need to do now sort of character. It looks like he takes his teachings from his faith very seriously. Those are the things that got him through the war. And yeah, like I think I just had like a play around in Hero Forge to sort of get his character together.
Yeah.
So I don't really have like any inspiration for him. I
Sure.
think it's very much just like I had a play around in Hero Forge. I got like his character design sort of down, and I sort of just had an idea of how I'd like to play his character. So yeah, it's
Just kind of let it grow organically.
I'm excited to play in the space and see where he sort of sits with the other characters.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Very, very good. And last but not least, real quick, mechanically, was there anything in the divine weapon, like the holy weapon, Seraph, that made you go, yes, please?
I mean, there's lots. Like, no offense to Ruby, but there's so much more in the Seraph stuff that's actually like,
See, that's
I'm really
interesting.
excited to
Yeah.
play this. So, and like a lot more with the domain effects as well, which make it like so much more interesting to build on.
Yeah.
But what makes it really interesting is that they only really have one magical, like, sort of melee weapon. So they have like wands and staffs and things like that, but they only had one like magical. So everything else is from melee attacks, but only one. So it's a hallowed axe that I've had to choose.
Okay.
So I've sort of flavored that into a different sword that he's got.
Sure. Like the scimitar type thing, yeah.
Yeah. But besides from that, so a Seraph has something called a prayer dice, and that goes off my strength. So every session, I get to roll 2d4s, and whatever mark they come up with, I then get to use that as either I can either increase damage, and it's not just for me; it's for my allies as well. So if I choose to do this, so
Okay, so it's almost like a bard support.
yeah.
dice,
So say if I had my 2 prayer dice, I can roll them. One had a 4 and one had a 2. I could then say I'm going to use this one with the 4 on it to let Livvy have an extra 4 like hope on this dice roll that she's just done, and that will give her that as long as she's within far range. And I can also give that PC as many hope as well, so I could basically give Livvy 4 hope if I wanted to with one prayer dice. If it rolled a 4, and I can do that every session.
Yeah, do that.
Do that, please.
Do that.
And
Okay.
yeah, like lots of really interesting thing. I'm also playing the same as Fia as well, so I'm also playing an Orderborn as well. And I like the Orderborn dedications that you have to do. So you've got like 3 sayings, and if you imbued any of them throughout your session, through every short rest, you get to roll a d20 for hope instead of d12, which is quite fun.
Very cool. Okay. Fabby. Well, speaking of the recipient of all of your prayer dice, hi, Livvy.
Hello.
Please inform us about this curious couple. About Rayri.
So, Rayri, if you haven't guessed by her face, is a sprite. She's that's Ignan?
Ignan. Yeah.
Ignan. It's an Ignan sprite. And she is a ranger, and she's a beast-bound ranger.
Okay.
Can't guess that from her little large friend.
It is a very little large friend, isn't it?
Yeah, so her little friend there is also her mount.
Yeah.
And he's inspired by the mighty beast of Chihuahuas. So he is essentially a giant Chihuahua.
There was, I'm gonna say that like there was a point during like character concept creation, and you had a Mastiff in Hero Forge, and there was a part of me that was like, good, but we could go better. Like, so yeah, lots of questions about like, would a giant Chihuahua be as yappy as a normal Chihuahua?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a whole lot of many questions have come up about this character creation, its temperament and its general personality. But you will see. You will see what his personality entails as time goes on.
Sure. So you said that Rayri is a Beast Bond Ranger.
Yes.
So
never played a Ranger before. Never really played a character that does range damage in general, to be honest. I'm normally very much a smashy close range, or roguey stabby close range,
sure,
or bard wafty close range. So haven't done a lot of range work before. It's been...
You're gonna embrace the old rooty tooty point and shooty.
The rooty tooty point and shooty. So yeah, I'm excited to do that. I'm not sure how frustrated I will get with it.
Sure.
Until I start doing it. But I think it's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah. Okay. It's good. Like it's the I'm enjoying seeing how, so whereas sort of like with the Guardian and the Seraph, like they're kind of new combo flavors of what we would consider traditional classes, like this is a pretty firm like traditional archetype, so I'm interested in seeing how that
it's pretty much like you can't get much more D&D than Ranger with companion animal.
So when it came to Rayri, what series of auspicious events led you to creating this duo?
How do I describe my chaos brain? I wanted to play somebody reasonably joyous. Like, I don't play happy very often, I guess. I'm normally gruff or slightly wide boy or bizarre. For all of you that knew Core, may he rest in peace wherever he is. So I just wanted to play something a little bit more sort of fun, light-hearted, and just like happy to be there. I often play people that aren't happy to be here. So I thought that would be a nice change of things. Inspiration-wise, just all of my favourite characters that are like that. So you're looking at Ed from Cowboy Bebop. You're looking at Mabel from Gravity Falls. You're looking at all those chaotic sort of ADHD
princesses,
over the top, annoying but lovable kind of characters, that are just slightly bizarre, but you love them for being them. So
amazing.
And a massive chihuahua.
I'm sure you're going to fit in with this trio of brooding men that surround you.
That's what I also like. As everyone was making their characters, I was just like, there has to be the comic relief here somewhere, and it might as well be me. And it's gonna be me.
Very good.
So I think somebody needs to bring it.
Yeah.
Because I think they're all quite serious boys.
So, what mechanics from the Ranger are you most excited to exploit and abuse to cause me immeasurable emotional turmoil?
I think like there's nothing that's like it's so traditionally D&D. Like a lot of it is just your classic Ranger stuff. So what I'm actually most interested in is starting to play my companion, which has just as much experiences as me. So I basically have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 experience
Holy moly.
capabilities from my companion's experience and my experience.
So you had to create experiences. This is like a +2 bonus for those who haven't played Daggerheart.
Yeah, so he also has 3.
He also has 3. Okay. So you amazing. Okay. So we've got a nuanced Chihuahua.
He's got a lot of history. There's things that he's seen.
Those
things.
eyes have seen a lot of things.
Yeah.
In different directions.
Yeah. That's why he's got so much experience, because he can see in multiple directions at the same time.
Amazing. Very good. Very good.
And I mean, he also has his own stress. He gets those stress points. And he also increases my armor score by 2.
Well, if you wear him,
if he's in fighting with me, I get a +2 to my armor score.
That's cool. That is cool, to be fair. Yeah.
So I quite like how usable he is. Like, he feels like he's part of me, rather than being like, oh, and I've got a dog. Like, I've got a companion. It's just like, oh, this guy he has experiences. He has things that shape how he interacts with the world as much as how Ravi would interact.
Yeah. So in the chat, Carla's asked, Carla's stated, please tell me the Chihuahua talks, but only to Ravi.
But I think Ravi thinks that it talks. I'm sure Ravi talks to him a lot.
Sure.
They have full-on conversations.
Maybe that's the reason for the 1,000-yard stare.
Just hears Ravi just talking at him for hours on end as they traverse the forest. Yeah.
Amazing. Well,
We should probably reiterate as well that the dog can't die.
Yes.
The dog can't die.
Yes.
Can't die.
He can be hit 3 times.
Dog cannot die.
This was
in a long rest scenario.
Yeah, this was one of the questions I immediately asked when you said, like they've Darrington Press have kind of hard boiled in that that line where your animal companion just sort of like scarpers and flees the field.
Yeah, he gets a certain amount of hits, depending on his level, and once that is totaled, he's out of the fight and doesn't come back again until a long rest.
Yeah.
So I assume he just skulks back to camp.
Yeah,
after.
That's cool. Yeah. I appreciate that. Cool. Yeah, looking forward to seeing the shenanigans and chaos that you bring to the party. Last but not least, hello, PC Dan.
Hello, DM Dan.
Hello. You are... given that Nate isn't playing the Svelte Twink, I feel like you're kind of bringing that energy instead, right?
There might be a little ab showing here and there. There might be a few biceps crunching here and there.
Just a cheeky little gratuitous bicep flex. So this brooding creature right here. Please give us a little rundown on Vanier.
Yes. So as you've said, I'm playing Vanier, who is a wolfkin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, you might have viewers who do not know who wolfkin are. They're essentially like your humans of the world, but they're not as there's not as many of them as there are
from
to some of the other races.
from the viewpoint of the Lorivar, the Wolfkin are very passionate, quick to emotionally change, very direct, perhaps a little brash. They are problem solvers.
Yes, and that is exactly what I'm bringing to the table. Yes, I'm playing. I'm playing a Wolfkin. There, you could, in D&D terms, again, for those who aren't familiar with Daggerheart or your world of Elsewhere, they are kind of like your half-orc in D&D, but obviously in terms of the campaign setting, they're, it's not so stereotyped into that role. But yeah, I've chosen to play a warrior this time.
And how does a warrior, what's different between a warrior and a guardian?
The guardian is like your knight in shiny armor, but like a tank, essentially, in mechanical terms. Whereas the warrior is all about dishing that sweet damage.
Yes, it's the DPS.
It's the DPS, yes.
The DPS.
And in going down that DPS route, subclass wise, I have chosen to pick the Call of the Slayer.
Okay.
To dish out more damage.
Of course. Okay, so we've got, I notice he is sporting a rather fine pair of gloves. So, what's that all about?
Right. So, going along the lines of where did I get the inspiration from? For this particular character, so the last character I played for the last campaign was a Guardian, Stalwart Guardian. It all started with, I really wanted to play a turtle person, which in this setting was a Galapa.
Yeah.
But I also really wanted to play a tank-based role because it's really hard to fill that role in D&D.
Yeah.
So, which I thoroughly enjoyed. However, now coming into your Elsewhere setting and looking at the various classes, currently in a separate campaign, D&D campaign, I'm playing a heavy spellcaster, and looking at the spellcasting roles, I wasn't really feeling it. So I was looking at the warrior, and I was like, I'm really feeling playing, just leaning into the warrior. But I always pick swords. Because it's just something I really love in terms of the fantasy theme. However, I've never played a monk in D&D. And I saw arcane gauntlets amongst the items that you could pick.
Yeah.
And then the inspiration started to hit me in terms of character concept. And I think this time round, I really lent more into pulling from different themes to create the concept, because arcane gauntlets aren't the most optimal thing to pick as a warrior, especially with warriors having a certain ability to add your level's worth of damage if you're dealing physical damage, but these magical gauntlets deal magic damage.
Okay.
So I'm losing out on that. But I really wanted to punch things.
I think what is really, really interesting with Daggerheart in comparison to other fantasy-based tabletop RPGs is that a lot of the weapons you see in other games are the traditional, to be the traditional weapons, whereas in Daggerheart they've got those, but then they've also got things like the arcane gauntlets, the effectively chakrams, and they've got loads of new fantasy weaponry that would make sense in a world with magic and creatures and so on and so forth.
Yes, definitely. So with going with the character creation there, this time I wanted to, especially playing in a more fleshed out world, I wanted to give the character concept some more thought. So digging the sort of vibe that Wolfkin, to me, seems to sing with this sort of like survivalist in the wild, nomadic type vibe going on. I've been drawn in from various inspirations for things like those who have played Monster Hunter, the old games there. I'm really digging the vibe of slaying monsters, carving up what I can from them to sell on, or to, which we'll find out, I'm leaning into some cooking vibes.
Yeah.
So for those who have watched Delicious in Dungeon on Netflix recently, I'm drawing some Senshi vibes there.
Yes.
Yes, there are, with the white hair, there is some Witcher vibes there as well, because I really like the Witcher. But yeah, and the gauntlets, for those who are anime fans, for those who have played Genshin Impact, the gauntlets, the punching gauntlets, are very reminiscent of a character called Wriothesley. Drawing some little bits of inspiration from there as well. So there's a whole mixture of different media that I'm pulling from for this character. But yeah, essentially, because of the setting, we're reflavoring the arcane gauntlets to be more primal based magic rather than arcane magic.
Yeah.
So these are more like primal gauntlets. So they're stone, and they let off like wind and it's like blizzardy type magic, icy magic. So yes, so that is leaning from a background where he's got them gifted to him from a certain world spirit.
Yeah.
Whether that gets revealed. So yes, he does have a whole vibe going on, and I'm very excited to try it out.
Amazing. Well, we've kind of gone through like inspirations and that. What was your top pick, like mechanic or like class idea that you're looking forward to?
So, of course, Cool the Slayer, you get to dish out more damage.
Yeah.
So if I receive hope on some of my die rolls, I can give up that hope to add a d6 up, because of our current level, I can hold up to 3d6 at a time, which I can just add on to my damage.
Nice.
So
Hang on, is that like you can accrue that? Like
yeah,
steadily?
you can accrue the d6s, and you can spend however many of that pool of dice. Obviously we're level 3.
For a proper like Shoryuken moment.
Yeah. So I can literally one-man punch for all my dice.
Well, Carl in the chat has very correctly mentioned Vi from Arcane, and
yes,
when
Vi
you were
from
describing this character, because the whole sort of like Arcane pugilist idea is something that I've had very kind of, it was very dear to my heart within the Elsewhere setting. It was one of the first kind of concepts, kind of characters I created. But there's a moment in Arcane, it's near the end, and there's a moment where Vi does a punch, and like everything just slows down, and you see just like the gauntlet move around, and then there's a bang, like a sonic boom. And I'm imagining that.
And that's the vibe I'm going for, especially. Cool. So yeah, mechanics wise, that is like the biggest shtick of the Call of the Slayer warrior. However, yes, there are various things I've chosen that I'm hoping mechanically will sort of sync, because obviously I've just played a Guardian who absorbed so much damage, and even with the current build that I have with my warrior, he has a good evasion, but not amazing. So I'm very interested to see how much I get hit, and how much armor, how many armor slots I'm going to be spending. But I've got things in the background, hopefully, that work off of those mechanics. So yeah, I've got some things in the works that I'm trying out here. I won't go into too much detail because of time, but yes, I'm very interested to see the little things that I've picked, how they inform the theme of my character through this world. Which, bear in mind, for those who watch these shows, obviously myself and Theo have never played in Elsewhere before. So
Livvy's
Neither
and
Livvy.
Livvy as
new to
well,
us, well,
yeah, and Livvy. So yeah, that's three of
Nate's
us.
the
who don't
grizzled veteran.
Really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nate,
Of a whole half a year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when he's,
So we'll
when he's
be-
playing a war hero or a
Yes.
POW.
so we'll be leaning
Trap.
on Nate's knowledge
Yeah.
as
Well,
we play.
The beauty of it is we're kind of making it up as we go along. Beautiful. Okay, so that Vanya sounds like a very interesting character. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him in action. Right, Theo, your time is up. What is Cal's biggest brag?
I don't know if he would brag, but he was known as the Blade during the war on
Oh.
his side of. So he worked up the ranks quite quickly as he is much older than the others in the team, and joined the war quite young. So he was like quite a well-known general near the end, but he is known as the Blade. Not that he would brag about that. That is just something that he is. So people might know it, people might not know it, but he is known as the Blade. It's one of my experiences as well. Is anything that comes up with the Blade, he gets +3, which is very exciting.
The Blade.
On his rolls.
Blade. Very, very good. Very, very good. Okay, so that is your biggest humble brag. What is Azakar's biggest brag?
Azakar doesn't brag. Azakar is a humble chap.
Yeah.
I guess like his biggest brag would actually be that he's got a weapon that is imbued with Aya's divinity, or he believes it's imbued by Aya's divinity anyway.
Sure.
And that's really cool to him.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, an appropriate character build for someone of that nature. Very good. So we've got a god sword as a brag. What is little Rayri's biggest brag?
I think Vinny is Rayri's biggest brag. They are the only known entity to ever be able to tame what they call an Arlecchino, which is what the breed is called.
Arlecchino.
From the Bronze Mountains. Never been mounted before, never been tamed, and Vinny is the first known.
First known to... So, Arlecchino, did you say?
Arlecchino.
How are we spelling that?
Like the Italian. So Arlecchino.
Boom. Okay.
Arlecchino.
I'm
It
using...
means Harlequin in Italian.
Ooh, there we go. So, a savant animal tamer. Very, very good. And last but not least, what is Vanya's biggest brag?
The White Wolf. Actually, it's his cooking.
This is cooking. Okay.
Yes, he the one.
Makes a mean carbonara.
Yes, it's although he is the White Wolf is well known for his deeds exploring and monster slaying and providing parts to the community. His real little passion that sort of brings him down to earth is his unusual cooking from such ingredients that he finds in the wild.
Okay.
Yum yum.
Well, there we have it then. We have our 4 characters. Well, obviously we're going to discover more about them as time goes on. But let's do a quick dive into sort of like the setting and like what is the Tales of Elsewhere, what is it that we're doing. Obviously we've discussed that we're playing Daggerheart, but yeah, the setting for this, so for those of you who are kind of new to the Elsewhere setting, it is a homebrew that has been percolating for quite literally over a decade. It's been a long time, but fundamentally we exist in a world known as Elsewhere. Somewhat recently, Elsewhere knew almost everlasting peace until one day the gods of Elysia, who are all the dragons, led by Aya the Broodmother and Akan the Dragon Father, they had a bit of a falling out. They had a bit of a Barney. It was all due to Akan gifting the mortals the gift of arcane magic, which the mortals of Elsewhere used to do some pretty impressive and creative things. But Aya took umbrage with it. She did not think that the mortals should have this kind of this self-propagating magic. Like she rathered it, but magic still came from the gods in the form of divine. Had a bit of a falling out, bit of a Barney, a little tiny war that fundamentally split Elsewhere right down the middle between the two factions, those siding with Aya, those siding with Akan. And the consequence of that war, with all of the ever-increasing magics unleashed by both sides on one another, resulted in a phenomenon known as the eschaton, when the very fabric of Elysia, very fabric of Elsewhere started to split. The ground began to rupture, the skies began to burn, the seas began to freeze and boil. It was the end of days, and the people of Elsewhere, like the mortals, realizing that the dragons had no intention of stopping, they prayed for deliverance, and they were rescued by what are now known as the world spirits, which were kind of a number of deities that sprang forth from the wrecked shell of Elsewhere herself. These primally infused deities decided to side with Aya, and in doing so they managed to overthrow Akan and his 7 children that followed behind him, lock them away, sealed and banished, and that was it. That's the end of the war. The dragons went back up to the heavens, the world spirits returned back to the earth to begin the process of healing, but the world of Elysia had been irrevocably changed. I use the term Rubik's Cube. Civilizations were twisted and torn and pulled apart and redistributed, and the terrain was completely changed under the warping magics of the eschaton. Fundamentally, we have a world's worth of people living in a world that they no longer recognize. So 18 months ago from the start of Tales of Elsewhere, the first the eschaton finished. 6 months ago, the first expeditions began heading out into the world under an initiative called the Rediscovery, to fundamentally remap and rediscover everything, what Elsewhere now looks like. Did I say Elysia again, Ben?
You said it at least about 3 times.
3 times, very good. Elsewhere. Yes, 6 months ago, the first expeditions went out. Most were successful in setting up a number of kind of outposts, which have now since been connected to the great city Avamore, which currently houses the Silver Halls, which is a grand kind of school, a college of magic. There are a number of high magisters who operate from Avamore, and they are the brainchildren, or they are the fathers and mothers of the Elsewhere Explorer kind of initiative. And having sent out these expeditions, what is effectively a set of portal network, like a portal network, is now being established to connect Avonmore to these other outposts as they spring up around the world. So our adventurers, our explorers, will be part of the growing explorer population from Avonmore, striding through these portals to the outposts established by the expeditions, to help out, to aid in either, help the outposts quell any problems, aid with the exploration of the local area, and that in itself is our framework for being able to kind of jump and skip from kind of location to location, different settings, different themes, different ideas. If at any point you wanted to change up one of your characters to try something else, let's say there's a new Daggerheart kind of update, you have that option as well, because the adventures themselves are going to be relatively bite-sized, which also makes it much easier for you to watch or listen to. And that is pretty much it. When we start, we'll start after the break, and we will be joining these four as they go on their first mission together as a foursome, emerging through a portal into one of the outposts, having all responded to, torn that little slip of paper with the telephone number from the jobs board back in Avonmore. Does the Silver Halls have an investigation team? It could well do, Carl. It could well do. No one think about that acronym. So, yes, I'm excited for this. It's going to be good. We're going to hopefully give Daggerheart a run for its money, kind of put it through the ringer, see what it can and can't do, see what it's good at, see what it could be better at. And then also just kind of expands the Elsewhere lore a little bit more. Obviously, we had quite a lot of lore that was put in place and created off the back of Campaign 1. Campaign 2 is still currently in process, but it's fair to say that's a bit isolationist, so that's almost kind of that lore development's happening in a bubble. But it's good to be able to kind of touch base with the rest of the world, seeing what's happening. 6 months after the conclusion of Campaign 1. Cool. Tell you what, who would like to watch the title screen before we go to break?
Yeah.
Cool.
Do it.
Right. I'll play this. We'll go to break, and then we'll jump in. Enjoy. All across the unknown world, rediscovery pushes ever onwards to find the lands and people lost. All thanks to our brave explorers.
Hi, I'm Nate, and I'm playing Azakar and the Jarni Seraph.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Vanya, the Wolfkin Warrior.
Hey, I'm Livvy. I'm going to be playing Rayri, the Sprite Ranger.
Hi, my name's Theo and I'm playing Cal, Sangavar Guardian.
And my name is DM Dan. I'll be the GM in these adventures. The further we go, the more we learn of these magical tales from elsewhere.